Hey everyone, back for another very quick video. When I first started recording, I was a student. I didn't have a job because I was sort of studying full time. My budget was very much limited, so I started off by using these t.bone MB75 microphones from Tomman. I was very much after a 57, a real SM57, but it was sadly out of my price range at that point. I think when I bought the t.bone MB75s, they were about £22 each. Something ridiculous like that. I'd also seen on some forums the Pyle PDMIC78, I believe it's called. That was also very cheap. I'd been using the MB75s for quite a while, but decided just because I found one of these PD mics for about 10 quid, thought I'd buy one on eBay, just for anything to see what it was like. On first inspection, there's definitely a marked difference in quality between the two. But, you know, now we're recording properly. I've had a job. I've worked for several years now. Obviously, I can afford some better equipment. We've got a real 57. We're going to do a quick shootout between all three of them. They're all kind of aiming for the same ground. Well, basically, the two are aiming to replicate a 57 for the most part. They've all got their own merits and sort of better in some applications than others. But I think to do a side-by-side test would be quite a good thing. So in a second I'll switch to a clip where I'll talk about the sort of visual differences and what's immediately identifiable looking at the microphones, and then after that I'm going to be recording a quick video in which I compare the sounds coming from my Peavey 6505 amplifier, which is coming through a Harley Benton cabinet actually, with some vintage 30s in. That's at the bottom there. It does sound very, very nice on its own, but we'll see how the mics pick it up. To do so, I'll be playing with my Burny RLC55, which is a fantastic guitar. I don't know if you know much about Burnys, but well, I don't. I'm not much of a guitarist myself, but these are some cracking guitars for me. This is a Chinese one, but the Japanese models are very much acclaimed among the guitar community. So I'll be doing that in just a second. Okay, so first we're going to start with a quick look at some of the more visual differences between the two. We'll start with the Pyle PDMIC because that is definitely the cheapest of the two. I picked this up for around £10. It is a very, very light microphone. You can tell just from holding it that it's very cheap. The sort of plastic stickering on here looks very cheaply done. Just in general, it's good for certain applications, as we'll come on to, but you can tell straight from the onset it's a very cheap microphone. This unscrews very, very easily. When you look inside, you can see it's an unbalanced microphone, which also means that phantom power can be quite a problem. Particularly, I'm using a Behringer Ultra Gain under here that uses phantom power across all channels. I wouldn't suggest recording with a PD mic and an interface like that on the basis that if you had phantom power for a set of overheads and also add it to the channel of the PD mic, you'll damage it. Next we'll go into the MB75. It has a lot more weight to it. I believe it does actually have a weight glued inside. I believe the 57 does as well. But generally speaking, as much as you can tell it's not a real 57, it does handle significantly nicer than the PD mic. If you look inside, it's a bit more stiff to open. It's weighted inside. No transformer, I believe. Just straight from the capsule to the XLR output. But there's a good amount of weight to it, and it is a balanced connection, so phantom power shouldn't be a problem with one of these. When I first bought the MB75, I was a bit annoyed when I found the PD mic for cheaper because I believe they were probably the same mic with different branding. That definitely isn't the case. These are a better microphone for slightly more money, but still significantly cheaper than the actual 57. Now, this is the real deal. Again, heavier still. I believe if you look inside, the body is weighted and has a transformer glued in there. Some people do prefer to take these out and leave them unbalanced because they say that the sound is better and more vintage. I personally haven't really been interested in doing so. I like the stock sound of a 57. Although it has to be said, I don't even use this very often anymore. I tend to use my Audix i5. I prefer that for a lot of applications. But a very good microphone nonetheless. Worth pointing out, however, I don't know if you can see this, I've had to tape a sliver of a plectrum here. When I first got the microphone, the capsule was very, very loose, and it still rattles a tiny bit. That became quite a problem when I was recording really high sound pressure levels, like snare drums and that kind of thing, because you could hear it sort of vibrating against the body, and that was affecting the quality of my recordings. So I've had to sort of wedge something underneath to stop it. 57s are cheap in the world of professional microphones, but they're still not a cheap microphone as such. It still costs quite a bit of money. I think about £80 now, £85. And for that, I wouldn't really expect to have a rattly cage on it. But, you know, these things happen, just a quality control issue. I bought this one off a friend who had it as a present and didn't really need it, so I didn't have any way to take it back and swap it for another one. I can imagine if you bought it from a proper music shop with a receipt, you could swap it if that was a problem. I chose to repair it sort of in the best way I could, rather than tape around it, which would affect the directionality of the mic, stop it from being such a strong cardioid pattern. I just put a thin slither there, hopefully won't affect the sound too much. But yeah, a very good microphone, a transformer inside, sort of a more dull grey steel mesh there, as opposed to the T.bone, which is very bright, and the PDMIC, which is perhaps brighter still and less depressed in the centre. You can certainly tell all of these mics apart. PDMIC is smaller, the SM57 weighs significantly more than the other two. Yeah, there are just a few markers. I don't think you could really brand a PDMIC with Shure detailing and sell it as one. I think people would spot the fake. Jack connections look slightly different inside, but again, it's only the PDMIC that's unbalanced. The other two are balanced and should not be therefore damaged by phantom power. Right, we're now going to go on to some sound testing, so bear with me while I switch over to my guitar and you can have a listen to how they all sound. So as you can hear there, all very different microphones, perhaps all suited to different applications. Microphone A was the Pyle PDMIC78. You can hear a very, very pronounced boost in the highs there. Good for some applications, particularly kind of aggressive metal. Will probably cut through on a stage if you're looking for that kind of thing. So perhaps a cheap microphone to have in a gigging case if ever you are playing a venue that requires you to mic up your amplifier and put it through the PA. Certainly an affordable solution for that. Comes with a cable. It's a really bad cable, so that's not much use. But yeah, for 10 quid, quite good for the aspiring musician or somebody looking to start micing up their amplifier. Microphone B was the Real SM57. Not really anywhere near as much highs as the other two microphones there, but still a very well-rounded microphone, and there's a reason that it's been used for so long and by so many people. As I say, I tend to use my Audix i5 for a lot of stuff now, but it still is a very good microphone to have in your toolkit, and I do end up going back to it on the odd occasion. Microphone C was the t.bone MB75, which you can get from Tom Man, about £23. But yeah, that's also a very good microphone for the money. Balanced, so not the same issues as you might have with the Pyle PDMIC. Still quite a boost in the high frequencies, and again, has produced some good recordings for me prior to me owning an SM57. So I'll leave you to all sort of work out what you make of those microphones, but all in all, they all have their applications, and there's a lot of music snobbery about there. I think they can all serve a purpose in somebody's toolkit. So thanks for watching. I'm hopefully going to record some snare drums and some toms with the same microphones, perhaps compare them to a 421 or a D112, and let you hear what you make of those as well. So thanks for watching. Cheers. Remember to subscribe, and this is recorded at the Garage Studio in Coventry. Cheers.